My name is Michael Moran. I did a PhD in the School of Medicine, Dentistry and Biomedical Sciences, and it related to my work as a doctor in head and neck cancer research. And what we were looking at was cancers of the head and neck that are related to human papillomavirus. My Viva lasted for 3 long hours, but having said that, the time absolutely flew in. Knew it wasn't going to last much longer than that because my external examiner had a flight to catch at the end of it, but it was probably a bit longer than I thought it was going to be. On the morning of my Viva, I did a sort of a summary presentation of the PhD work, and I know sometimes people don't like that right up front on the day, but to me that sort of focused my mind and also gave me an opportunity to be asked questions by people who I worked with, maybe from different areas, and almost it was like a quick run through with questions that prepared me for the Viva. The Viva itself then followed straight on from that, so it was not too much time to think in between, and then it lasted for 3 hours. So the process really was just a case of bit by bit in order of the thesis, going through points of clarification, some semantics, and then also then sort of those sort of in-depth discussions about the subject area. And at times then there were sort of like short breaks mediated by the third person in the room who's not actually questioning you, just when it was felt that, you know, maybe people needed a cup of coffee or a glass of water just to kind of break it up a little bit. The best moment of the Viva was when I'd taken loads and loads of notes and thought that, you know, I'd probably have quite a lot of work to do ongoing. It was when the examiner said that they were always happy with the quality of the work and were going to award a PhD. And in the end I only had to do minor corrections, so it was just that massive release of pressure that it was probably the weight of the 3 years that had gone before in one moment. The worst moment of the Viva, I think, was when I realised that both examiners had raised lots of different points that they wanted to discuss, as indicated by hundreds of post-it notes in the thesis. And I think even from the outset I realised that, you know, it wasn't going to be necessarily a friendly chat. That's not to say it wasn't friendly, it was just a very detailed scientific and academic discussion. But it's that sort of like heart-sink moment to think, how am I going to get through this? In terms of questions that I wasn't expecting the Viva, I think there was a lot of stuff that was sort of maybe procedural detail with certain technical aspects of it that I wasn't ready for, and it wasn't the laboratory stuff which I had learnt, it was more things that would happen in a clinical pathology lab that I just wouldn't have day-to-day knowledge of, and about sort of differences between tumours. So I think as a broad statement, the things that I wasn't expecting to be asked about were the things that were maybe areas of interest of the examiners that I hadn't occurred would actually overlap with my subject content. So by preparing what I thought they would want to talk about, I'd sort of left a few gaps. With hindsight, going into the Viva again, I probably would have sort of looked at the Viva from 3 perspectives. From my perspective, which is what I did, and trying to be as well prepared as possible, and then looking at it but from both examiners' points of view and from their backgrounds. So when you find out what their area of expertise is, which things do they like to talk about at length, because you'll probably end up talking about that at length in your Viva, and then almost having that sort of triangulated approach to the research, because it will be critiqued. I would say the key thing is not to over-prepare, because if you make yourself too nervous about it, you're probably going to misrepresent yourself and potentially the work that you've spent so long preparing. The Viva is an opportunity for you to show yourself as an expert, and therefore you should in some way relish that opportunity. By sort of going into too much detail, sometimes you can lose the key messages. So as much as this is hard advice to take, try and relax.